Okay, everyone, this is episode 48 of Living Out Loud. Today we have a guest. Today we might have Katie, we might not have Katie because she is having furnace issues, and we are in the middle of a multi-day weather event here in Western New York. Today we have Colin. So the topic that we wanted to explore, and this came out of kind of like a casual conversation that Colin and I were having, and then we decided to like do an episode on this. So a little bit of background. Colin lives next door to me. Uh, I moved here in October. He is in residence with one of my oldest and dearest friends who lives next door. He is good friends with her son. And Colin is a 21-year-old male. Colin, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Alrighty, so yeah, like you said, I am 21 years old. I grew up in Buffalo, New York. Went to school in Lancaster out of there. After that, I went to ECC for 2 years. Played sports throughout my whole life. Played sports there, and went there for business. And I just finished up there after 2 years, and now I'm up in Fredonia, working on starting up my own clothing company. So
Right, starting your own clothing company,
that's
which
a
will
professional summary right there.
right, and we will talk about the clothing company
Yeah.
toward the end so that we can give our viewers your information. So, Colin, the reason that I have you on today is we kind of had a brief conversation the one day
Mhm.
about like your age group, your demographic,
Yeah.
and the challenges that face it. Because there has been a number of articles that have come out about the struggles of young men and the struggles of young men that are through no fault of your own, right? It's kind of this. Katie and I have touched on this before. Um, we think we're seeing some of the results of COVID and what happened to your age group during COVID. The social isolation, kind of changing of how you socialize. Some people really, even at your age, haven't gotten back to where they were before COVID happened.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I sent to you, and I've also mentioned this person before, Scott Galloway, who is a professor at NYU. He also has a podcast. He had one that was called Professor G, but now he has one that is called Pivot.
Mhm.
He wrote a book. He has been kind of tracking the issues that have been facing young men for years, just kind of like watching it happen around him. So he wrote a book about it. And I just want to read like what's probably on the jacket of the book when you buy it.
Mhm.
It says, "Boys and men are in crisis. Rarely has a cohort fallen further and faster than young men living in Western democracies. Boys are less likely to graduate from high school or college than girls. 1 in 7 men reports having no friends, and men account for 3 of every 4 deaths of despair in America." We talked about this the other day. Deaths of despair, that is death by suicide, whether it's related to mental illness, loneliness, addiction by choice because of those things. Those are deaths of despair. It says, even worse, the lack of attention to these problems has created a vacuum filled with voices espousing misogyny, the demonization of others, and a toxic vision of masculinity. But this is not just a male issue. Women and children can't flourish if men aren't doing well. And as we know from spates of violence, there is nothing more dangerous than a lonely, broke young man. So here's where I'm going with this.
Mhm.
There seems to be this general consensus among usually like males 18 to 30,
Yeah.
okay, that they are falling behind. They are falling behind in um, being in school. They are falling behind being in the workforce. They are falling behind being in relationships. And they are also finding that I'm going to say a lot, well, it is a lot. They don't feel like they have strong friend groups, or they report having like no friends.
Mhm.
And there's like this isolation. Why am I having such a problem saying that word today? Isolation. Isolation
Isolation.
is,
Isolation.
I got it. I was getting there. I was getting there. There seems to be isolation issues, and some of that can be attributed to gaming. I know gaming can be done like on an online platform with other people, but then there's also gaming that's solely done on your own. And they talk about how some spend hours and hours doing that. So that's not really interaction. And then in an interview with Scott Galloway, he was talking about your age group, and it said, one out of three men in your age group is dating, but two out of three women in your age group are dating. And he said that math doesn't add up. And the reason that math doesn't add up is that girls in your age group are dating older men.
Wow.
And he said the reason for that is that, oh, like in the people that were polled, right, in the women that were polled, they didn't feel that the men of their age group were financially secure or heading toward being financially secure.
Mhm.
So there's a couple different things happening here, right?
Right.
He's looking at it from just kind of studying it.
Mhm.
But then he also, in his book and everything, did the research to speak to, the female counterpart of your age group and how they
Yeah.
feel about it. My question for you,
Mhm.
how do you feel about these things that are
Um,
being said?
I do feel like it is very true, and I'm happy he's bringing awareness to it because there's definitely like has been a decline in what we've been talking about, and I figured I would just talk to you kind of about like where I'm at almost because like I'm in that same range, and I kind of deal with those problems myself, and
Mhm.
I journal and I reflected on them a lot, and yeah, I believe everything he's saying is true. Girls and guys, the loneliness in guys is definitely very true, and yeah, and then how everyone around me too, like I think that's also very true about how girls are way more have a chance of graduating than guys. I totally see that too coming up a lot in my schools and stuff because I was in class with a lot of classmates and a lot of guys actually dropped out. So everything that they
Okay.
were saying is just really true. Um, I think guys are feeling a lot more pressure nowadays. I just
What kind of pressure?
So let me kind of start off somewhere. So I think I'm going to start off with a quote, and it's I think the thief of
Fabulous.
joy is comparison, and I think the phones these right here we are constantly comparing, and every time we're even doing something good, like I remember, like I'll have a great day, then I'll go on my phone and I'll see some kid my same age, and he's living the most lavish, most perfect life, and then on social media, you know what I mean? So then it dims it down for me, and I just think that's where we struggle with a lot, is especially with our phones. If you want to start it off with the phones, um,
Okay, so let's go. We'll go back to your quote because I think I spoke over you. That's what
yeah,
I've actually used myself. Comparison is the thief of joy,
mhm,
right? Or the thief of joy is comparison.
yeah,
Phones,
yeah,
social media,
mhm,
um, and when they talk about the effects of social media on mental health, and they it seems like it's overwhelmingly they overwhelmingly speak about females and how it's like body image, and the Kardashians and all
yeah,
that stuff. They don't talk a lot about how it affects males.
correct,
And I think it's because, and this is purely opinion, I think it's because they're like, oh, guys don't care about that. That's not going to bother them, like guys are naturally confident, blah blah blah. They're not going to care about some guy who's like, posing by a Lamborghini, whatever. You're telling me that you can have a good day and you can come home and you can look at some of this stuff and it dims your day.
yeah, 100%. Like I would say it could like motivate me a little bit, but when I look at my overall mood, I don't
Mhm.
feel too good after consuming all that information. No, I feel like I just feel what's a good way to put it, how I feel after it? Just kind of overwhelmed. It kind of overwhelms me a little bit. It makes
Okay.
me feel more pressure. Honestly, it makes me more stressed out.
Makes you more
Just
stressed out because
100%.
you feel that these people are hitting milestones and you're not, or these people are succeeding in a certain way and you're not.
Yeah.
Now, when you're looking at these and you let it affect you,
Mhm.
affect your mood,
Yeah.
do you also reason with yourself and say some of this is fake,
100%. Yeah, 100%. Definitely.
right?
Yeah,
Like some
definitely.
of this has got to be fake.
100%.
Um, and like how many social media accounts do you have?
So I have Instagram, TikTok, and those are the ones that I'm active on that like I scroll, and YouTube Reels actually. I've transformed a lot to YouTube, honestly, but mainly Instagram and TikTok for scrolling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, one day when we were talking, and
Mhm.
we were talking about this, and you said there must be an algorithm for the things that come across my phone. Like you said, you
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like there's an algorithm. What
Yeah.
did you mean by that?
The algorithm is basically just everything that you search up, everything that you talk about with your friends on your phone. The algorithm basically just gives you content to feed um, your likes and your niches that you search on your phone and talk about. That's
Right.
pretty much what the algorithm is.
Now, and when you see when you see what you think your algorithm has been determined to be,
Mhm.
what do you think?
Like
I
I
mean, is
told
that
you, I think it kind of makes the feelings that you feel like worse almost. Um, it just amplifies all those feelings. Like that's a good way to put it. It just makes the situation overall worse for sure. It just feeds the stuff that is constantly bringing you down, and it's
right?
feeding it and almost into like memes. Like it's hard to like talk about it because they make them like it's like a meme style. I don't know if you're
Okay.
familiar with that, but they
I know what I
make
mean. Is.
yeah, no, I know. It's just but it's hard to put. They like make serious things memes, and it kind of like desensitizes you to feelings almost, and you're just kind of like overwhelming it. Like for an example, like there will be a meme where I'll be talking about a girl problem or whatever. Say I'm talking about girl problem with my friends. There will be a meme that just kind of like talks about the girl problem, but in a funny way. But it's not
Right.
really. I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's healthy the way they do about it, and that's kind of contributing to what you say about men with relationships because instead of oh my god, like my relationship's kind of falling apart, it's not doing so good, you just look at the negative side of it and then this meme comes up and it makes a comedy out of it and
Right.
you don't actually handle the problem and then you just kind of fall back on that and you do it in an immature way and you're not actually facing the problem, you're just kind of laughing at it and you just try
Right.
and move on and go on in your everyday, but eventually those accumulate and those keep on adding up and then a few months later down the road, yeah, you still got the same problems, you're still single, you haven't got nowhere. Now, actually, you're getting your social conversation stuff. It's getting worse because all you've been putting your energy into is this algorithm that's feeding you this short term satisfaction of not having a girlfriend, and and just not working on it.
So
Ultimately.
that's interesting because like when the meme comes up that is, based off of it's like I can understand humor, I get that, but like
Mhm.
not everybody wants like it to be treated with humor at a particular time, and it's
Yeah.
almost like it's minimizing it. Okay, so it's
Mhm.
minimizing how you feel.
Mhm.
Now we already, over the years, obviously conversations have been had, when we talk about battle of the sexes or men versus women, women are more emotional, men are more
Yeah.
stoic. Um, Men aren't bothered by breakups, they just go on to the next one.
Mhm.
But they're finding that that's not true. And Katie and I have actually spoken about this before. Throughout kind of modern history, it's almost like men were given permission for two things. It's okay to do like to fight or to fuck. That's what, has kind
Mhm.
of been like it's okay for you to get mad and it's okay for you to want to have sex, but don't cry and don't, try to have a serious conversation with your friends because then you're not masculine, right? Then you're
Right.
not masculine. So we've almost I don't think it's happening so much anymore with parenting, but it's almost like we taught boys, you can't be emotional. That's
Mhm.
not how a man is supposed to be. You're supposed to be strong you're supposed to protect,
Yeah.
but you're not allowed to be upset or sad, you
Mm.
know, or to cry or to emote in any way that would seem less manly. Now, there was another article that I read in Scientific American, and it's called The Hidden Costs of Men's Isolation. All right.
Mhm.
So when a girl is dating someone or a woman is married, whatever you want to look at it,
Mhm.
when that relationship comes to an end, overwhelmingly the women do not stop in their tracks. They go to their friend groups. Their lives, besides the absence of the relationship, their lives are still full, right?
Yeah.
They throw themselves into their hobbies. They go on a girls' trip. They have their job. They have their family. It has been found that overwhelmingly, when men's relationships, romantic relationships end, they don't have that, right? Like
No.
the romantic partner actually carried a lot of where they felt it was okay to be emotional, right? Like that
100%.
was the space that they felt it was okay to really, talk about problems, say that they're sad, say they're whatever. So like we're talking about heterosexual
Yeah.
relationships, right? Mainly.
Yeah.
um, that men felt safe in those spaces with their romantic partner. So that's kind of where they unloaded all of these feelings and stuff that they feel that society has basically told them are not manly. And then when the romantic relationship ends, the most I would say just in general, I'm just making this in general.
Mhm.
I think when romantic relationships end, you know, um, dating, pretty much the most information your friends are going to get is she's not around anymore, right? Like, yeah, she's gone, right?
Yeah.
Like we're not together. They're
Yeah.
not going to get I really didn't know what to do. It just wasn't working, or she broke up. They're not going to get the full, like, you guys aren't going to sit down and like hash it out. I mean, I think things are changing. And I
Mhm.
think kids your age maybe do talk more.
Mhm.
Like I know you and Trevor talk
Yeah. 100%.
together. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but it's not like men will broadcast it. It's not like they're going to go out for drinks with their friends,
Right.
right? And sit at the bar and talk about the relationships and how they went wrong.
Yeah. 100%.
Whereas women can do that for hours,
Yeah.
right? We can. And so the social the hidden cost of men's isolation after romantic relationships, and they're not totally comfortable being open with their friends and talking about it.
Yeah.
The person that was kind of their emotional romantic support is gone.
Mhm.
And so then they kind of retreat into themselves about those things. But then, they'll still like go play a pickup basketball game, and they'll go, they'll do like, so
Yeah.
they've found this to be
Mhm.
like, it's actually kind of a real issue, right?
Yeah.
Because then you're not processing your breakup.
Yeah.
You're not dealing with your breakup. You're not, which is probably why a lot of men, and I'm just speaking from what I've seen over my lifetime, is why it seems to me a lot of men that I either know platonically,
Mhm.
like high school, college, after college, whatever,
Yeah.
where it seemed to me so easy for them to go from one to another, to like swap one out for another one,
Mhm.
right? But it was easy because they weren't processing any loss or grief over the previous relationship because they don't know
Exactly.
how to.
Exactly.
They
I
don't know
totally
how to.
agree.
So they shift, they'll shift the focus from one to another. And then it'll be like years later that they'll be like, wow, she was the one that got away. Wow, I really should have, but that's after years of, where finally something hits them, right?
Years.
Years. Whereas women,
Years.
our relationships and it depends, of course, on the how deep it was and the length of it.
Mhm.
Women don't jump right back in, right? Like we tend not to jump right back in. Of course, there's some exceptions to the rule because we
Mhm.
don't feel like we're over it. That's what women are like, I need to get over this. I need to get over this. And then I'll be ready to go to whatever.
Yeah,
So do you agree with that?
100%. Yeah, I everything that you're saying is just like it's so funny because it's actually resonating with me in my life. I'm just thinking of a lot of situations that growing up and stuff, and everything you're saying. Yeah, it's definitely resonating for sure. It's very accurate.
I'm kind
Very.
of a genius, Colin. So
Yeah,
that's
no,
why,
I know. See what happens when you read articles? Those definitely help. But yeah, in
there's a
total,
lot out there. There
yeah,
is a lot out there. And
yeah,
so to like the hidden costs of men's isolation, which is from Scientific American.
mhm,
One of the things that they had in there is that online groups have formed by men for men
mhm,
that is a safe space for them to, well, express their feelings. And there's one called Men's Circle, and there's another one called Beyond Equality. And I think they're anonymous, where men can go on and be like, my marriage just ended and I'm shattered. And I can't tell the guys that I play cards with on Friday night, you know, because that's not what men do, right? You don't, I'm sure there are, I don't want to stereotype on that, but I mean, like when you got your Friday night card group, you're not, some guy whose marriage just ended, he probably walks in and they're like, hey man, how are you? And he's like, I'm good. And then they just play cards. It's not, hey man, how are you? And the guy breaks down and I'm shattered and I don't do and I miss her. And like, no, 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 no.
yeah,
So having these spaces,
mhm,
Men's Circle, Beyond Equality, where these men can go on
yeah,
and just because you need to get it out. I mean, like,
yeah, mhm,
especially romantic relationships ending of all kinds.
yeah,
If it was a serious one and if it had some time to it,
mhm,
um, this person was a fixture in your life. They
right,
were a fixture in your life, and now they are gone.
mhm,
And it doesn't matter who broke up with who. You can end a relationship that didn't
yeah,
work for a couple of reasons.
mhm,
Ending the relationship doesn't mean you end the feelings. That's why people struggle so much with breakups, right?
100%.
Just because the relationship is over doesn't mean it eradicates how you
Right,
felt.
right,
Especially if people break up for like logistical reasons, like, oh, it's long distance, it's I
mhm,
can't do long distance, right? Or I want kids, you don't want kids. These are really tough reasons
mhm,
for people. I mean, because it's not that you don't care about them, it's not that you don't love them, it's because of a totally external reason
mhm,
that that's heartbreaking.
yeah,
It is. It's really heartbreaking because it's not you when you take something like a couple where like one person wants kids and the other one doesn't,
mhm,
that's you can't resolve that.
no,
You
no, you
can't ask somebody to totally change a fundamental thing about themselves, right? So that's why breakups are so difficult because it doesn't end how you feel.
100%.
And so okay, for example, I'll bring up an example. I was dating someone. It was long distance. I was still living in Buffalo. He was in Cleveland.
Mhm,
It's actually, to me, a very romantic story because I met him when I was 20, but I did not date him until I was 49. And so we had known each other, right? And so we started dating, and it's like, and I mean, I'm not even like I'm a romantic, Colin. Absolutely. Okay. And
yeah,
like even though I knew him from the past, our first real date, and he and I both talked about this, it was like magic. I'm not kidding you. It was
I
like
imagine.
he even said he's like, I fell in love with you that night. He's like right then, right? And so we're navigating Buffalo, Cleveland.
Yeah,
What weekend I have my kids, what weekend he has his kids, and they never corresponded. And so it was like, and so like 4 or 5 months in, and it's serious and it's involved. And he called me and he said, I just can't do this. So I
yeah,
cannot have a part-time relationship. I can't do
it's too
this.
much, yeah, yeah,
It didn't matter how we felt about each other.
right,
That's how he felt. And I had to respect that. Right.
right,
It didn't work for him.
right,
Didn't work. And those are the ones that are tough. And so when men don't have a place to process that,
Mhm.
and people could listen to this and go like, "Oh my God, life's not all about relationships. Life's not all about," you know what? Pretty big factor
It
is
is a pretty big
relationships.
factor. Pretty big factor. 100%.
Okay. It changes over time,
Mhm.
but we all know having someone in your life that you care about and that you love and who loves you back, it's pretty
Right,
fucking big.
right. Because
Pretty
life, I mean, there's always gonna be something that's gonna come up,
right.
and when stuff comes up, I mean, the best feeling in the world is to lean on your support system, to know that there's people there for you and stuff like that, and going back to men's loneliness,
Mhm.
I personally have close friends where I can say anything in the world for them. I can
Right.
feel embarrassed and I won't feel embarrassed. I can talk to them, but like you said, with men not having friends, there's a lot of acquaintances, but there's not a lot of really, really close friends. And that's the problem. I would never share my personal stuff with an acquaintance that I see on the weekends where I go drink. I wouldn't do that to him. I would feel
Right.
wrong to do that for him because that's not my role in his life. I I would feel like my role in his life is just to have fun, go for drinks and stuff. But my close friends, I'm definitely not afraid to open up to. But that's the thing. A lot of men have a lot of friends, but they don't have a lot of, I would say, brothers, but a lot of really, really close friends. I think that's important.
I think you are totally correct about. I think you are totally correct. I think that a lot of men have circles of friends.
Hmm.
Like these are the guys I drink with, these are the guys I play
Right.
cards with, these are the guys I um go to the gym with, these are the guys I work with, right?
Yeah.
These are, but I think it's the guys almost that you grew up with, or the
Right.
guys you've known since middle school, or the guy,
Hmm.
those are the ones that you like
Right.
can, like
Exactly.
you and Trevor can talk like that,
Right.
obviously, right?
Yeah, and that's why I'm lucky because I didn't go away to college. I think there's a lot of kids that they have their high school friends and they go to college and there's that 2 to 3 year gap now. So now it's like, okay, you know each other well, but you still don't want to put all your emotions on him. And then you got your college friends that you've known for 2 years that I think your bond is strictly just kind of like on drinking and getting through college. So I think around 21 to 24 is definitely like just a very big transition in a guy's life. And a lot of stuff is accumulating in that time too. You're done with high school. So you still have a lot of relationships from high school that are still there, but they're fading away. You still got some wounds from high school that you're still trying to get over with. Then you're going
Mhm.
into college too, where you don't have everything figured out. You're still trying to figure things out. You're scrolling on your phone. You see people that are getting figured out. So I think there's just a lot of feelings for us 20-year-olds to 25-year-olds. There's so many feelings, there's so many things and situations in so many areas, and we're not grounded enough, and it stresses us out, and then we kind of just we isolate ourselves to try and like figure this out. I think it's a very just funny time for 20 to 25. I mean, you went through it in college too and stuff. You know how it is. I mean, it's like not easy. You're juggling a lot of things. And I guess the easiest thing to do is to kind of isolate yourself because you're not getting judged, and it's easy, you know?
It's easy to hide.
Yeah, it is easy to hide. It
It's
really
easy to
is
hide.
easy to
And
hide.
that you just made all excellent points. Like girls obviously can meet another girl in the bathroom at a bar and they're best friends
Right.
after 20
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah.
But they can't. I mean, it's just how we are.
Girls are
But
better
like
socializing than men. It's true.
that,
And it's
yeah,
actually it's getting even more. The gap's getting even crazier. Seriously, guys, it's harder for us to open up. But continue what you were saying.
but I think you made an excellent point. And I never thought of it this way when you said going away to college. So girls, like we already established, girls are different. I never thought about a boy going away to college, leaving his high school friends or teammates behind, and basically having to start all over again.
100%.
And starting on a very surface level, meeting your roommate in your dorm and probably just being like, well, now in the days of video games, it makes it easier. we didn't have that back when I was in college. So now when you walk into your dorm room, you're probably like, hey, you want to play a game of whatever? What's, what system do you have? Hey, like that definitely is a icebreaker
Yeah.
that was not there, 30 years ago.
Mhm.
Um, but so that's an excellent point
Yeah.
that it's starting over. And so when you don't go away to school, and listen, I'm not a proponent either way. All right. I work in higher ed. Um, I feel the state of higher ed is not what it used to be.
Yeah.
I do not, this is all personal opinion, everyone. I would never encourage my kids to go to a private college away from home because that's another thing with your age group, go to college, amass student debt, can't find a job, right? Job market sucks. That's another difficult part of it. But like another thing that I wanted to bring up, and I don't know, this is just something I saw yesterday.
Mhm.
Okay, because like Scott Galloway will talk about like toxic masculinity. He'll talk about the
Oh, yeah.
manosphere,
I would
right?
love to talk about this. Bring it on.
Okay, so he talks about the manosphere and toxic masculinity, and then there was I go in BuzzFeed a lot because I love BuzzFeed when they round up like all the funniest tweets or the funny whatever,
Mhm.
and but they'll do like these polls, and they did a poll of women that was like, how can you tell when a man's been red pilled? Have you heard of red pilled?
Oh, 100%. I know
Okay.
all about that red pill.
Okay. So
Yeah.
red pilling is basically, I guess, for lack of a better way to express it,
Mhm.
is someone your age, male your age, 18 to 30, who is basically swung to the really conservative traditional side.
100%.
Right?
Yep.
Because I don't want to get political, but
Mhm.
like they've swung to the traditional conservative side
Yeah.
where like they were asking these women, like, what's a red pill, red flag, right?
Mhm.
And they were saying stuff like, oh, I've had a guy that I was dating say to me, once we get married, you won't have to work anymore. And she's
Yeah.
like, but I like to work and like I want, like my own money. And he was like, well, no, we get married. He's like, I'll work and you stay home. And she was like, yeah, no, that's not.
Mhm.
So there is this burgeoning kind of regrowth of traditional conservative values.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you see that? Like, do you
So,
see that?
what's funny is I see it on social media, but I don't see it in real life. All I see it is
Okay.
on social media. I don't know if it's just my age group, but like I said, I am still like 21, about to be 22, so we're not at that stage of like financial stability. But
Right.
yeah, I see a lot of that content online, but yeah, no, not really in person. Every in-person relationship that I've seen in my life, it is 50-50. Um, with the girl contributes, the guy contributes financially and all that. But yeah, I see that all online, but not really in real life.
You gotta wonder, like, you wonder how much of it is like what Katie would call clickbait, right? Like how
Yeah.
much of it is just for views? Um, how much do they actually really believe it, or is it just like their online persona? They talk about Andrew Tate,
Andrew
right?
Tate. Yep. And I really
And
like Andrew Tate for a few years personally.
okay,
I resonated him with Andrew Tate. Now it's like the feelings aren't that strong. Now it was more when I was like 18 through 20. I guess I just resonated with how he like kind of like how he words things. He's a really smart man. I don't know if you've seen him any videos of him, but he's a very smart man. And
I've
he
seen a
definitely
couple.
yeah. It wasn't necessarily the girl stuff that I resonated with him at all. It wasn't even the girls. It was just about being a man, just being strong, and just
Okay.
about motivating you. He was very motivating for men to get
Motivator.
yeah, very motivating. Just like honestly being almost like a father figure almost in ways to like really just to kind of put things in perspective for men. That was what he
Okay.
was. I think he was a good father figure role in terms of men for self-discipline and working hard. That was what he
Okay.
was really good at. But the clickbait and the views and the stuff that all went viral was all like the woman talking smack and stuff. But there was a lot of more things than him than just the woman stuff. There's a lot of
Okay.
self belief in there for men and stuff for him. But
because Scott Galloway also is a proponent of, positive masculinity,
masculinity, correct.
and his book, Notes on Being a Man.
Yeah.
um he does talk about protect, provide, like, and he's not what's the word I want to say, he's not like an Andrew Tate. these are
Right.
these are like these are views of his that were formed by his life, right?
Mm.
So, like he says, he has some lessons that he learned along the way, and
Mhm.
it was, get out of the house, action absorbs anxiety,
100%.
um, take risks and be willing to feel like an imposter. Don't let rejection stop you. Be kind. That's the secret to success in relationships. Find out what you're good at, follow your talent, acknowledge your blessings, and create opportunities for others. And this is my favorite phrase of his: be of surplus value.
Yeah, that's good.
Surplus value. So you add to someone's life, you don't detract from it, right? Or subtract from it.
Mhm.
Um, so I think he's got some good things. Now, one more thing I want to talk about before we're done.
Yeah.
And I'm fascinated by this. And I've read like several articles about it, and you kind of can't escape it. The rise of AI girlfriends.
Oh Lord. Yeah, that's something. I guess yeah, we could talk about that. Oh my goodness.
Um, I'm not laughing at these people, because what I think this is very serious, because I think it shows
Uh,
what the state of relationships are
yeah.
in our day and age. That people are, and these people know
Mhm.
that the AI, and I'm going to focus on AI and girlfriends, because it just seems like that's more prevalent, the AI girlfriend. Although
Yeah.
there are AI boyfriends, but it seems like the AI girlfriend was the one that rose to popularity like quickly. They know these are not real people.
Yeah.
They know they're not real,
They're just easy to
right?
talk to.
They're
It's
they're
like any
easy to talk to.
self-confidence. Yeah.
They're
It's like
easy to talk to. They boost them up. They give them an ego boost. They listen. They understand. It's like all a positive interaction, right? To the point that these people really feel that they are in love with their
yeah.
AI girlfriend. And some of them have married them.
Wow.
Some of them have married them. And now there's a market where like you can have your AI girlfriend, but then you can actually have like a doll built that looks like your AI girlfriend. So you have like a physical
Mhm.
manifestation of your AI girlfriend.
Yeah.
But the thing about the AI girlfriends and boyfriends, there's a character limit to the conversations.
Right.
And then we start talking about AI delusion, which is becoming bigger and bigger. But there's a character limit to these conversations. And so the AI girlfriend can only talk for so long
Yeah.
before she hits her limit. And then they don't remember anything that happened previously. And when that happens and they hit their limit and they don't have the recollection of
Mhm.
everything that came before, these people are devastated. They're devastated. I find it fascinating and also terrifying that
Yeah,
this is
that's
happening.
yeah, I find it more terrifying. I don't find that crazy. I find it crazy. I find it delusional. I'm not a fan of it. I'm really not. I think that's everything that we're talking about. I think that makes it just worse. I think that makes everything worse.
But
And
doesn't that show you, doesn't that speak, if we focusing on males,
Mhm.
and I think next episode I'm going to have, I think, and I broached this the other night when we were at Brenda's house. I think I
Yeah,
want to have Samantha and Michaela on
yeah,
for the girl side of all this. But
hmm
doesn't the rise of AI romantic relationships show the state of either loneliness or how just completely off of dating people are?
Yeah. I
There
think
are
it's
people
I
who have
think it's just
elected
a lot
not to
of
date at all. Like they're done, right?
Mhm.
Is that what that speaks to? Or is it speaking to having a relationship that has there's no downside. There's no fighting.
I'd
There's
say
no,
it's just the whole dating thing. I think it is what it is because everything in life, nothing in life is perfect, you know. And
mm,
I think that's almost the beauty of a relationship. Like you're not supposed to agree with everything on something. Like
oh, heck no. That'd be
imagine
boring.
having a relationship where everything you said, I just be like yes, and I followed you and just kept on doing it. Like that's the beauty of
I'd be
life.
done with you in like a month
Exactly,
because that is not
exactly.
me at
So
all.
I really think it's just the men, they're so insecure that they can't hold down a woman. I mean, I could talk about this. I know we've talked about the surface level things, but you know how much goes into a relationship, what a woman wears or what she does, who she goes to work, who she talks to. Like the insecurity in men has risen so much. And that's why it's hard to really sustain a relationship because you have to be confident in this world. Like if you are an insecure man, like you are going to get chewed up and swallowed. Like and you're not going to sustain any success. You're not going to sustain relationships if you go about life timid and just insecure. And this insecurity that is spreaded, it's spreading into hate now because now they're starting to hate girls because they're so insecure that they're starting to hate girls because they're just so insecure and they just look at everything they're doing and they look at it as them as wrong because they just can't they're not understanding it. They're really losing grip of reality. There's a lot of people that are really losing a grip of what it takes. And like I said, you just keep going back to this. They're losing the grip and they're feeding it. They're feeding it. And
Hmm.
it's not it's not good.
What's the answer, Colin? What's the answer?
The answer, what I would say, if I could come up with an answer right now, I'd say the answer is to seriously get out more. Like, stop living in your comfort zone. Like, got to get uncomfortable. Like, you got to get through the stuff, and you really just got to things that bother you and things that you're nervous about, something that puts a nervous pit in your stomach, go and do it. That's what I would say. That's what I would say. Anything that makes you nervous, go and do it. Um, yeah, that's what I would say. Step outside your comfort zone and see what happens.
And get out of your phone.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely get out of the phone too. And just yeah, definitely just dim it down. Like don't let this give you the stimulation in your life. Like this should be here for just for texting and anything, but like this shouldn't be anything other more than that. That's the thing.
I
Shouldn't be
think
more.
that's where we've lost our way a little bit, right?
Yeah.
That's it. We've lost our way. Well, thank you, Colin.
Mhm.
This was wonderful.
It
And
was.
I'm sure I'll be seeing you around.
Of course.
And I'll let you know when it's ready to be viewed.
Awesome.
Takes me a
Alrighty.
couple hours. All right. Thanks,
All right.
Colin.
Have
Have
a
a
good one.
great day, man.